What's up, everybody? And you're watching the first video in a new series by RR Buildings. For those of you that have been around for a while, you know what's going to happen. But for those of you that just found the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button because there's a lot more content to come and you don't want to miss out. This series, we're going to be building what I'm calling the Dream Shop. Stick around so you can find out exactly where that name comes from. So the job behind us is going to be a 72 by 80 fully insulated and finished shop, and we're doing this all on a concrete frost wall, 4 foot. And then there's also going to be a 20 by 20 office on the front corner, as well as a 20-foot lean-to down both sides, and that's a nice place for this customer. He's an excavator. He does a lot of our excavating, actually, and a good place to put all of his extra buckets, spare, machines that he's not using, keep them out of the weather. It's going to be an interesting job site. This is literally sand everywhere. Working amongst some trees again, but customer is our excavator, and he definitely does a good job giving us a nice site to work with. There's going to be the 20-foot lean-to here, 80-foot deep shop, 72-foot wide, and then we're going to have another lean-to over here on the other side. It's going to be a good one, 18-foot tall. This whole area here in the foundation wall section is all going to be finished, insulated. It'll be really nice. You can really see from this angle here. So this is a 20 by 20 office. It's going to be off the corner, and then the 20-foot dimension is going to continue down to this corner. So this will all be storage under roof, and then the shop, and then the lean-to over there. How big of a boom is on this, you said? 116 foot. Very cool. I've actually never experienced a pump truck on site. Typically, we're going to use ready mix trucks right at each hole, fill up our piers. I don't get involved a lot in the concrete process. I showed up here this morning to just verify all of our knockout locations for doors, walk doors, overhead doors, and they're going to be pouring the walls here any minute, just waiting for the first concrete truck to show up. Pretty cool. Typically in my area, you're not going to see a pump truck unless you're on a large commercial site where they're trying to pour a ton at once. And that was actually the case on this site because just the nature of what we were trying to do, there was no way we were going to get a full ready mix truck to drive around this site. The sand was way too soft, and we haven't had rain in a while, which that made it even worse. Now, we could have put gravel around the whole building, but that's a cost that we thought would be better served just having the pump truck come in and do their thing. The only problem with that is that might be a decision that later on comes back to haunt us when we try to move our machinery around the site. I would love to hang around and watch them pour concrete from that pump truck because that is definitely pretty cool. I've got to go and finish up the job I'm currently on, so in a couple days I can get here and start building this awesome shop. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the newest build series. This is going to be a 72 by 80 shop, and it's going to have right behind me a 20-foot lean-to on this side, and over here there's going to be a 20 by 20 office space with a 20-foot lean-to continuing down that side wall. So in total it's going to be 112 foot wide and 80 foot long. The side walls, they're going to be 18 foot tall in the main building, and we're going to finish the interior as well. So it'll be a fully finished building, fully finished shop, and it's going to be a good one. So the unique thing about this shop is that it is all going to be on a foundation wall. So just like a home, we've got a 4-foot footing wall on, or a 4-foot wall on a footing, and there will be a concrete pad on the inside. So it'll be, you know, completely enveloped from the elements. You won't be able to have any rodents burrowing underneath. I mean, this is the ultimate way to do a building, but most people don't want to spend the extra cost. Typically there's about 45 bucks a foot on that wall versus us doing our concrete piers. We got a bunch of stuff. I brought in some lumber this morning just to get going. I got a big lumber load coming tomorrow. Got the scissor lift dropped off. We've got our trusses, poster back there behind the scissor lift, and I brought in a different telehandler. We're gonna give this girl a try. This is a JLG G9. I like my JLGs, I like my orange, but what I really wanted was to get a cab, and I might buy this, I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna give it a try, see what kind of shape it's in. Looks like it's got a rotating fork, which might be handy. Oscillating axles, that is a must. And this is a 9,000 pounder. Interesting. I think it's got a 43-foot boom. So I'd appreciate it if you guys stuck around, hit that subscribe button and follow this series. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's a lot to it. There's a lot I'll be showing. And even though this is probably overkill for a lot of people don't need a 72 by 80 shop, but I do know a lot of people want a 72 by 80 shop. So stick around, if nothing else, just to see how massive this is and how cool this comes together. I'm excited. I've actually been working on this project for about 3 to 4 years. And what I mean is I have been working with this customer on doing this project. They've been back and forth, back and forth. We're finally gonna do it. So I'm excited for that, if nothing else. But I hope you guys are excited to watch it all come together. One of the first things we gotta do on this footing wall is there's, you know, always thinking about the next trade in line, right? Clean off your work, prep it for the next guy. But we're gonna go around. Greg's running the blower, and we're gonna get it all cleaned off so we can start marking our brackets. This type of job right here is where the Stabila layout station really comes into play. This is the LA 180L, and this is gonna give us perfect square. So even though the concrete guys probably did a really good job making a square building, what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna come in off these corners and we're gonna make our marks 1.5 inches in. So that is where our actual corner posts are gonna be. And then we'll set this laser down just like so. And it's gonna shoot us a perfectly square line from this end all the way down to that end. And then once we have those 2 points determined where we measure over, on this wall it's gonna be 79.9 and this wall 71.9 down, we then will transfer this machine to that point, square back to this line, and it will give us a perfectly square line over there. So I'll show you guys exactly how we do that. So what we've done is we've taken the layout station, we've came in 1.5 inches on both of these corners, and you can see we've got our laser right on that corner. So now, you know, in theory, it's gonna shoot right through Greg to the other corner, and then it's got another laser that shoots a 90 to that corner. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this receiver. This receiver, when I turn it on and I tell it, well, whatever this button is telling it, it tells it to move this laser. You can see here on the back side, it can go, actually we should probably make sure this is about in the middle, and that gives it as much potential swing one way or the other. We're still good here, but what it's gonna do is it's gonna move this laser left to right until it finds my receiver on the other end right where I want it. So I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna put an 1.5 inch mark on that wall, find this receiver with the laser, and it should, in theory, give me a laser line on that end at 1.5 inches off the wall, if the concrete guy did his job. So obviously these are all theories. I didn't do the concrete work, I didn't lay out the building, so we're gonna see exactly how it works. But the good thing is, I know with the Stabila laser, it's gonna be perfect. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it on, and then you wanna be a little bit away from your wall so that it doesn't pick up the signal, but I'm gonna hold this button down. Oops, not long enough. So now that it's blinking, it's looking. The laser has started to move. So we go ahead and we put this right on our mark, and we just wait. We wait for that laser to find the receiver. And I don't know which way it's panning. It could be panning left where I want it to go right to find me, but you'll see eventually it'll find the receiver. See, there it is, it's finding it. It's finding it. So once that crosshair disappears, then it's locked on. We're still moving, it's moving very minutely. This is accurate within, I do believe it's 330 seconds up to 200 foot. So we're only going 92 feet. So it's still getting there. You know, at this distance, it's got to move just a hair to get on. Wait for it. Boom, now it is locked on. So now that this is locked on, that laser's not gonna move. Greg should be able to go back there, find exactly where the 90-degree laser's hitting, and see if we need to adjust it. So now we come back to this wall back here. We've got our layout station up here on this corner. We just basically lined it up with the front wall. Now we're gonna come back. Here is our 1.5" mark. And wow, that's really close. Not bad, concrete guy. I gotta give him a shout out. That is really good. So what that means now is we're gonna pull a tape measure from this point to this point. 79 foot and 9 inches. We'll put another mark right here, and then we'll bring that layout station, set it right here, and we'll use the receiver to line it up with this corner, since we know this line and that line are 90, and it will shoot us a 90 to that corner. So now I got Greg down there holding the tape measure, and I come down here and I'm gonna measure this to 80 foot 9 inches. So now this crosshair right here is perfectly square to the front wall at the dimension I want. So now I can set the layout station on this point, use this receiver to get it lined up with that point, and it will give me a square point over here. Lots of points, but the point is, it's gonna be hopefully perfect. And once we get that point designated, we'll take our tape measure and we'll measure this distance to determine if it's right. If it's the exact same dimension that we want, we know we're good. But I'll still probably double check this with a cross X measurement. I'll probably get a diagonal measurement just because I like to double check. So now that that's locked down, we're gonna take the receiver down to the other end. Okay, so if you're still with me, we started in this corner. We got a square line to that corner. Oh no. We got a square line off of this corner all the way back to there. So we made sure that this wall was square with this wall. We then got a dimension off of this point to this point of 71.9. That's where my outside corner of my first bracket is. We then moved the layout station. You can see it way over there. We moved it over there, and we got squared up with this wall here to determine the point over there where Greg is. We now are going to measure back from him to me, and if we are 79.9, or in this case 80 foot 9 inches, because we're burning a foot, then this layout station is amazing. Okay, so he's burning a foot. I'm going for 80 foot 9 inches. That, my friends, is called efficiency and perfection. So right there, this is where I wanted to be, and you can tell all this was a reference line we laid down with the receiver when we had the layout station in that corner. So this mark here is what we measured from that corner at 71.9. So it goes right through the line that we already laid. I'd call that perfect. All right, moment of truth. I just put in my rise of 79.9, my run of 71.9. It gave me a diagonal of 107.3 and 5/16. So Greg's gonna be pulling me 1 foot past our mark, so makes it easier to be efficient, or actually correct. So I'm actually gonna be looking for 108.3 and 5/16. Are you good, Greg? 108.3 and 5/16. Here's what you can notice right now. I'm pulling the tape measure. It kind of moves around. Clearly we're spot on, but if we were just to be doing this manually and not using the layout station to get the exact marks, how would I know exactly where to put that measurement? So needless to say, the layout station's about $1,500, but if you want to be accurate and efficient, you want to, you know, strive to be as perfect as possible, it's money well spent. Because I mean, this is only our second building ever using it, and it was that easy to lay down 4 corners and they're perfect. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's perfect. So you spend the money to make money, right? Snap some lines and drop some dimes, Greg. That's how it goes. What do you say?
Yeah, snap some lines and drop some dimes.
Snapping lines and dropping dimes. They just said intermittent rain at 11:30. Let's hope it stays away.
Cool. Looks like you already got rained on.
That would be sweat from working hard.
Nasty.
We just had a rainstorm move through, so we had to blow the wall off. There was a lot of water, which is never any good when you're gonna pull out your snap line, but we got it blown off. It's dried up pretty good, so we're going around now and we're snapping some chalk lines in between. Oh, how's my hair? We're snapping some chalk lines in between all of the marks we made. So we made our 4 corner marks, but then we also went about every 20 foot on the wall just to confirm that when we snap our lines, we're where we want to be. Good? Now that we've laid our snap lines across the wall, intersecting with all of the points we laid down with the layout station, we're good to basically pull out a tape and we'll mark all of our bracket locations, and then we'll be good to actually install those. So up until this point, it's all been prep, but now if we did our job right, this is easy. Should put them right where we want it. And yes, it would be really nice if this was all backfilled. Customer is actually an excavator, and he realized once he started backfilling this that he wanted to put plumbing in for some pressure washers, stuff like that. So I told him no big deal, we'll work around it. Whenever we pull any measurements, we always burn a foot on the tape measure. So when you hear me say burn a foot, that means instead of holding it at the very end, we're actually holding the tape measure at 1 foot. And what that does is it allows us to be a little bit more accurate versus the end of the tape measure sometimes can be bent or whatever. So always thinking accuracy. So what that means now, I'm gonna lay out this wall 8 foot on center. So I'm burning a foot, I'm not gonna go to 8, I'm gonna go to 9. Now also, the start of my wall where he's holding down there is 1.5 inches in from the outside dimension. So my first post center is gonna be 7, 10.5, or in this case, 8, 10.5, since I'm burning a foot. So we're just gonna go down the wall. Every bracket after that is gonna be 8 foot on center. So 8 foot 10, now we're 16, 10.5, 24, 10.5, 32, 10.5, 40 foot, 10.5. Now the important thing also is, as soon as we snap these lines, we got to get everything marked and drilled, because if we get any sort of rain, this line will be gone, and then we got to start all over. So we always try to use a permanent marker for any final measurement marks, anything that's final, which these bracket locations are final. 56, 10.5, 64, 10.5, 72, 10.5. Which puts our wall at 80 foot, 9 inches. 1.5 inches on both sides would make it 81, burning a foot. 80 foot exactly, that's our wall dimension. Now that we got our marks down on the concrete, we take our Midwest permacolumn brackets. These are sturdy wall permacolumn brackets, 83 OTs. So these are the 8-inch 3-ply laminated brackets for Ohio timberlands, which is what we use for our post. These are gonna get a couple redhead anchor bolts, and then we're gonna put some Simpson Titan HD 5/8 by 6-inch anchor bolts in the big holes. So it's amazing how strong these are. I know a lot of guys don't like it when we do wet set, but honestly, I do like wet set. It's just a pain to do when the concrete guys are laying out their walls. We just had this front push through. I don't know if you can really see it, but holy cow, we needed it. I think we got sun back here behind it, but it just dropped some cool air, and that feels amazing because it's been hot out here. We're gonna start drilling some anchor bolts in. That way we can get our brackets all in and mounted, and then we can bring out the laser, the rotary laser, to determine height. So we can get our story posts made up and start cutting posts. Gotta love the days where it's super hot, then a storm busts through and you get rain, then the sun comes back out and it's super hot and it's humid, and then it rains, and you're like constantly picking up tools just waiting for it to stop raining again, and then we'll be back out there. Could go out and work in the rain. I don't melt, but tools, they cost a lot of money. There we go. Ready to drill some holes? So I'm gonna go through and put some of these Tapcon 1/4 by 2 3/4 in, and those go here in the smaller holes. And then what we're gonna do is go through, and Greg is drilling down there behind me. I don't know where he's going now, but for these Simpson Titan HD, these are 5/8 anchor bolts, and these suckers grab. It's amazing how strong these walls are. I don't have the numbers on me exactly, but maybe if I remember, I'll put the specs down in the comments below. All right, so you guys have seen the process before, but real quick, we're gonna go ahead and shoot all the grade measurements to these brackets. And what I've done is, out on the front of the building where the garage doors are, the customer wanted the floor, finished floor, to be about 6 inches down from the top of the wall. So I made a mark. I found right where the laser, you know, ding, 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 ding. I found right where the laser was at that measurement. That was 27 1/4. So now I'm going around, and wherever this bracket, this is 20 9/16. Now, for all of you metric people, I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. Clearly, there's a lot of you that would wish I would do this in metric. 20 9/16, I think that's what it was. Yep, that's about 6 11/16 smaller than my 27 1/4. So that means, let me stop that. That means that this bracket, the top of this bracket where the post is going to sit is 6 11/16 taller than the finished floor height. So when we go and make up our columns, we're going to make sure that we do 18-foot walls minus 6 11/16 on this bracket only. Every bracket has its own measurement based off of the laser. So if you guys are a little bit confused, I'll go ahead and tag the video where I went over this in a little bit more depth. Yes, these are all negative marks. So we got all of our brackets down. We're ready to build. That's the important thing. It's kind of nice not having to dig holes. We can make sure everything is perfect right where we want it. So you can see the Titan anchor bolts. I'm telling you, this is sturdy. Like always, if you have any questions about the methods we use, if you are curious about why we're doing something, that's what the comments are for. Feel free to drop a question below. Hit me up on a message, a direct message if you want. But I really hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope that you stick around and watch the build. I think you will enjoy it. I know I enjoyed it, and I know that the customer enjoyed it. So that is, in the end, what's most important. But we'll see you guys back here in a couple days for the next video where we start building the walls. So hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and feel free to leave me feedback. Thank you.